Hello, welcome to the Comic Book Club. I'm your host, Jamill Payne, and with me is our very own dancing queen, Amanda Comey. How are you doing, Amanda?
I'm doing great. I got a little bit of deja vu for a couple reasons.
Today we are talking Incognegro for Black History Month. Well, you know what though? I feel weird saying that now, Amanda. Just because I don't know if we've done any too much about black authors. I feel like we only do black authors when it's Black History Month. Maybe we should correct that going
Yeah,
forward.
absolutely.
But that also goes to show you that there's not many black comic book writers out there. Maybe not as many as it should be anyway. But yeah, that's something we'll probably rectify in the future. So today we are talking Incognegro Renaissance, written by Matt Johnson with art by Warren Pleece. It was released in October of 2018. It is the prequel to the original Incognegro. And it reads, when a black writer is found dead at a scandalous interracial party in 1920 New York, Harlem's club reporter Zane Pinchback is the only one determined to solve the murder. Zane must go incognito for the first time, using his light appearance to pass as a white man to find the true killer. So Amanda, Incognegro Renaissance, what did you think of this book?
Uh, so I actually went out and got a copy of this book last year after we read the first one,
Okay.
because the first one was so good, probably one of the best books we read last year, including like classics like Kingdom Come.
And Sandman.
Yeah. So I went out and got a copy of the prequel like right away and read it last year. And I thought it was really, I mean, like the same quality, really enjoyable. I think that I found the mystery part of it not quite as good as the first one. But I don't think that the mystery was really the point of the book. I think the value of the story lies in the characters and the details and the incidentals that come up along the way. So I absolutely loved it. And I've been recommending them to people. My husband just read both of them over the weekend because I still had the books out. So yeah, I love it. What about you?
Well, I liked it a lot, and I've been wondering, why is this a prequel? There's no reason this has to be a prequel, but the one reason that I could think that it's a prequel, and the only reason I can land on, is that Carl dies in the original. Spoilers for the original Incognegro. Carl dies, and I think maybe Matt Johnson realized that was a mistake.
I don't know if maybe he thought it was a mistake, but I think that the Zane and Carl dynamic is really, really fun, and I can't blame him for preferring to write more of that.
And, well, I don't mean, I guess mistake is too strong of a word, but maybe, like, maybe
He should have saved it.
yeah, like maybe he realized when he wrote the first book that, Zane needs somebody to bounce off of. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because like Zane, as a character, while interesting, is really straight laced and almost without flaws in a lot of ways. So you need like somebody a little more loose.
Yeah.
And Carl was the perfect foil for that. So I almost feel like after he let Carl go, he realized maybe he shouldn't. Now, with that being said, this is really good. Like, it's weird that it's a prequel because, like, in a lot of ways, since the mystery is not as strong, it's almost pedestrian. It feels the first time he goes incognito. I feel like it should be a little more substantial than what it is. Like the first time he does it, I feel like it doesn't have that dramatic weight. So that's why I question why is this even a prequel? It just seemed like another case, as opposed to like, it feel like if he was gonna do a prequel, he should have did like 3 books before
Mm.
this, then did this.
I
Cause as this,
mean, you just want to read more of this.
yeah, I do. I'm just not saying it for that reason. I mean, yes, I do, but I'm just saying like Maybe him going incognito for the first time would have a little more weight if we see him do it in three books. You know what I'm saying? See him going on adventures, but at this point we've only seen him go on one adventure.
Yeah, I mean, I think
So if
maybe
go ahead, yeah, sorry.
I think maybe this is like the opposite of, I mean, I hate to bring it up already, but the opposite of what happens in like Star Wars, where it's like, you know, you're allowed to have a prequel where elements of the story don't tie into the original.
Right.
So like it's okay because from the character's point of view, going incognito, passing for white as the first time, it wasn't like he didn't know that this was going to be a life-defining event when it happened. It was after the fact that it became significant to him. So like the drama that we would place on that comes from us having read the first story already, which happens later.
Okay, I can see that. Now I'm trying.
But I agree with you. I'm a little surprised because the first book read exactly like a movie. Like it had the right pacing, it had the right dramatic points, it had the right dramatic reveals. So I am a little bit surprised that element of drama was missing from this follow-up. But I like that it was a smaller story almost.
Right. So should we just so this is about Zane like first moving from Harlem. I think he's from Mississippi.
Yeah.
Which is still a dumpster fire of a state even 80 years later. And basically he's what like a glorified intern? That's what it seems?
Yeah, he's working for one of the black newspapers, and yeah, he's pretty much a glorified intern, and he's given like the puff pieces, the society pieces. So he's like, you know, he goes to parties and goes to like ribbon cuttings at new businesses, I assume, or writes about recipes, you know, really hard hitting stuff, but filler that your newspaper needs.
And just like in the real world, since it's black, it seems to be like it's less reputable. Like, oh, no one's gonna read this. No one's gonna look at this because it's a darky newspaper, as they like to say. Which is you know is that element of like even today of like if it's like black owned or like black produced, it's perceived to have less quality for some reason.
And especially in contemporary times, it's perceived to be about being black.
Right.
And therefore, or maybe reputable from that perspective, but not for other reasons.
Okay.
If that makes sense, like you would like.
No,
like
no. It does. Like, why is it black entertainment television? Why is there any white entertainment? All that dumb shit that they say. But yeah, but you know that's another aspect. I guess we should go into before we get into the plot is like there's a lot of, and like I like this because it's just below the surface, or like actually it's above the surface, but it's talked into an intelligent way without seeming preachy about cultural appropriation. Like this book is big time about cultural appropriation. Now for you, Amanda, how does that like? Since you're the resident white person on this show, how does that make you feel?
Right. So the first book, the white people who were villains were almost comically evil. I mean, I know it's based in reality, but it is very easy to believe that someone is wrong when they're trying to kill you for no reason.
Right.
This follow-up, the white villains, I guess, are a little bit more nuanced because they don't want to kill any of their black neighbors. They just kind of don't want them around. They kind of want to pretend they don't exist, which is like a more...
Until they want to interact with them, right? Until
they want them to make them seem cool or to show off how progressive they are. But I'm just thinking that, like, as a human, that must be so much more insidious, and like you can internalize it. Like, like if you're told your whole life that you're allowed to work at a restaurant but not eat there, you may eventually start believing there's something wrong with you.
Right.
Whereas if someone just says, no, we'll kill you if you come in this restaurant, you're like, okay, they're an asshole. I know they're wrong.
Right.
So the fact that the white characters in here were sort of superficial allies, and then celebrating that in themselves makes it a little bit more nuanced.
Right.
But because the story wasn't strictly about that, because we just see how that attitude impacts what Zane and Carl do, it doesn't feel like I don't have to immediately go on the defensive and examine my own behavior until the end of the book.
Mm.
So I'm able to read the story, I'm able to enjoy it, I'm able to digest it, and then I'm able to go back and think like, okay, so how many times in my life have I accidentally done this? Or imagine what would it be like to live with that sort of pervasive systemic discrimination. So I think that the way that he's done it allows the message to sink in a lot better as a white person, because when you come out like right in the beginning and you show white people being mean, I have to decide right away, like, are they talking about me or not? And postponing that decision makes it work better.
Right. And it is weird because I don't know much about Matt Johnson. I am reading one of his books right now, which is really good, which I want to talk slightly about, even though I'm not finished, like at the end of this show, because I want to recommend it. I wonder, as Matt Johnson, if you ever seen a picture of Matt Johnson, he could really pass for white. Like.
We didn't talk about this last time.
No, well, we might have, but no, I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
And I wonder, as a man that can pass for white, who probably went to college with a lot of quote unquote liberal white people, I wonder how much like undercover racism has he seen in his life, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As a person who could pass, and some people might maybe even like confuse him for white, maybe like how much fucked up shit has he heard from quote unquote allies in his life? You know what I'm saying? I know I've had mixed race friends who was raised around like a lot of like white people who couldn't pass, but like they was like real light skinned. And he said, and they would tell me they'll get fucked up questions, or they say things, oh, like, you're not like the other black people though. Like those black people, you're not like that. Like you're one of the cool ones. And I wonder how much has Matt Johnson experienced something like that. Basically, what I'm saying, I wonder how many times Matt Johnson has accidentally went Incognegro in his life, and he just been in the room, and all of a sudden they just start saying nigga every 5 seconds. He's like, whoa. Like, but yeah. He's such a good writer, and just like he throws these issues at you in such a matter of fact way that it's not until you think about it, like you said, that it really like hits you full on. And like for someone like me, I forget how like revolutionary this is, maybe to somebody who don't understand, because for me, the things that I say about Carl and by every other black person in the book are just known facts to me, right? And so for me, it is very matter of fact, right? I haven't considered what other people would think of these things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just because, just for me, these are just unspoken truths about how our society moves when it comes to like black culture.
Right. Well, and there's also a difference between knowing it and sitting with a story and sort of experiencing it for an hour.
Yeah.
That's a different type of knowing. And I think that that's exactly what white privilege is that I can know in the first sense and choose when I want to know in the second sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get to pick up a book and read about it. You probably just, randomly have it happen in your life when you're not ready for it, or you are ready for it, but I mean, the idea is that like I get to choose when I read about this and think about it.
I mean, there has been times that like it has happened. Now I'm just going to an aside because number one, I need to make this slightly longer than what probably will be because I was gonna say it's good, but like I know there's times where like in my early to mid 20s, me and my best friend we partied almost exclusively in white areas, right? You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, it'll be fine. But there are moments, right, that racism would just pop out at your ass, and you'd be like, "What the fuck?" Like sometimes you'll go to a party, sometimes you'll go to a club or a party, and you're the only two black guys there, and they just assume you have drugs, Amanda. Like they just assume that you got the drugs on you. Like, no, no, we despise drugs. What the hell? But that's what they assume. Sometimes you get invited to a house party by one of your white friends, and you get there and you start to get questioned. And again, these are by younger white kids. You know what I'm saying? Who are all in college, who are all consider themselves liberals, but when the black guys show up, they want to question them, like who you know, who are you here with, what are you trying to do? And like I said, it don't happen often,
Mm-hmm.
but it happens a lot. It happens a lot more often than I would like to admit. Like just in my lifetime, the amount of white people have came up to me to talk to me about drugs, even when I work security, it's freaking weird. It's just weird, man.
That is weird.
But because they just think you holding. For whatever reason, they think you holding. Like if I need drugs, I gotta find a black guy because he either has it or he knows somebody.
I mean, they think that because politicians spent the 80s and 90s
Yes.
convincing us that black people have drugs all the time.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I know why. Look. I'm not sure. I know that, but I'm just. But it's just pertinent to this conversation, right?
no, that is a really good example. And that's also the sort of thing where it's like, it's, I feel like it's not even like super offensive. It's just weird. And you start, like you start questioning like what is wrong with me? Like why does this keep happening?
Well, no, I'm gonna tell you,
But not in like a,
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, like you're not in any danger. It's just weird. Look, you ain't lived till you're like at a club and you see two white dudes fighting and they start calling each other niggas, and you as the black person don't know how to feel. You gotta check your black handbook. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that allowed? Like, I mean, they saying nigga, but they call each other niggas, which, like, it almost short circuits your brain. You know what I'm saying? Just like, what the fuck? That's a true story, by the way. I'm not making that up.
Oh, you can't make that up. That is amazing.
But yeah, so like, but again, you get these moments, like, if you, as a black person, if you hang around white people long enough, you're gonna get some type of weird racism, even if it's not insidious. You're just gonna get some type of weird racism.
Um,
Okay, so that's my
no, but
tangent.
no, I mean, that's, this isn't even really a tangent because you were talking about how the real core of this follow-up prequel is cultural appropriation because we have the idea of the murder being partially motivated by the fact that this writer's book was ghost written by a black man who
Right.
couldn't get himself published. And so, sort of that kind of hangs over the whole story, this idea that black art is good, but not when it comes from the original artists.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there was a thing just this week, right, with some TikTok dance
Yes.
where it was originally, you were the one who told me about this last week, and then I saw it like everywhere.
Yeah, a little black girl from Atlanta, cause hip hop runs through Atlanta, like black culture runs through Atlanta. Period. Point blank. That's what my city does.
Would I be racist if I asked if you know her because she's black and from Atlanta?
No, I do not know her. I know where she's from. I know what part of town she's from. She's actually not that far away from me, actually. But no, I don't know her. Also, true story. I don't know this little girl, but I actually seen when they was setting it up. This little black girl had a Target party at the Target down the street from me, where like all her friends dressed up in Target outfits and had like a birthday party in the Target, like in the little food area every Target has.
Yeah.
And they had like a birthday party there because she loves Target that much.
Cool.
And I remember like being in Target that day, seeing them set up for something like, oh, well, that's weird, and just leaving. Then like 2 days later, I hear that story, like, oh, that's what that was. But no, I don't know the little girl that created the dance. But yeah, there's this app that's kind of like TikTok, I think, called look, I'm old. It's called Dub Smash, and apparently that's where the black people go, and that's what they do dances, right? Then like the famous white TikTok people look on Dub Smash, take those dances, then take them to TikTok where it has a bigger audience and kind of take credit for it.
And that's really tricky with dance specifically because you can't like copyright dance.
No, you cannot. Well, that's the thing. I don't think it's necessarily about like a monetary issue. I mean, I guess it can.
No, but I just mean like words. It's easier to prove that you're copying somebody else.
Right.
Dance in the like dance, it's harder. Dance has just always been harder for that. But no, that's didn't that also happen with like a Fortnite dance or something?
All the Fortnite dances, all of them, every single one of them. The first few, and like that was even like a white. I mean, you could be seeing it as a like them taking for black art, but it wasn't even like a black art thing. Like the Backpack Kid who made the little, floss dance. He's white, and they took his dance. The Ron Purdy guy, I think they call it Orange Justice. I think that's what my son called it in Fortnite. Like, they were just taking everybody's street dances, right? The Millie Rock, which was made by the rapper 2 Millie, they took that shit. And they didn't feel the need, they had to pay anybody. And my thing's always been like, even if you don't have to, Fortnite has made billions. So to throw somebody like a $500,000 check just for a thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Or when you have like public Fortnite events, to hire these people who made these dances would be cool. You know what I'm saying? But just the idea like we don't have to pay you nothing because it's in the public domain, I always thought is a little. I get it. It's one of those laws that yes, technically, you know what I'm saying, they don't have to, but morally it feels off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. The little girl finally got her credit. Like the internet did something good for a change.
Maybe that's because they read this book.
Maybe. Probably not. Back to this book. So there's also queer representation in this book.
Yes.
So the black Xavier, the guy who's murdered, the black guy that's murdered and ghost written in the book, was apparently gay.
Yes.
And had a gay lover. Maybe a couple of gay lovers, actually, I think. But
I think it's also Zane's boss was also gay.
What?
I thought that when he runs into his boss in the bar, and because I remember you liked this line where his boss is warning Zane, hey, the publisher came and bought out like a full page ad because they don't want us doing this story. And Zane says, well, do you want me to stop? Are you telling me to stop? And his boss says, oh, hell no, the check cleared already. You go do your job.
No, go do your damn job.
Go do your damn job. Thank you. But I thought for some reason that was like a gay club and that's why his boss was like shocked to see him there.
Oh, I'm so dense. You might be right. Oh, shit.
Because I just reading that scene, I thought that his boss was like, wait, what are you doing here? Like, are you going to tell somebody you saw me here? And then this other issue came up, and he was sort of like, okay, it's just that, right?
Right, right. So,
Because
like,
they were surprised to see each other there. So I thought that that was another just another glimpse into, like not only were there restrictions on where you could go if you were black, you also had to hide other stuff at the same time.
so like Xavier was living a double life within the double life, right? So
Yeah,
not only does he have to deal with the discrimination of being black by the white people, he probably had to deal with the discrimination of being gay amongst his
yeah,
own people, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
so so he just can't go to the black club. He got to go to the super secret gay black club.
yeah.
There's
Which probably only exists in New York, right?
right, because clearly that was the only place gay people are.
Well, I just mean you need like a critical mass of population to even have.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess big cities in general, it will only happen in big cities, and apparently that's one reason why he left. Right, that's one reason why he left. It wasn't just because he was black and he
Mhm.
stayed in this shitty like town. It was because eventually somebody was gonna kill him for either being
Mhm.
black or gay or possibly both. So he had to get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Which brings me to like I guess the femme fatale of this story, but not really. Is what's her name, Amanda? Help me out.
Did she go by Bet as an actress? I'm trying to remember. She had, um, yeah, her acting name was Bet Minion, but
Okay,
she probably had another name which she went by too.
but yeah, she's kind of the femme fatale of this story. But and I guess this is like you said, this is the one slight criticism is there's no big twist, right? In the first Incognegro book, right? There's a couple of big twists, right? There,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? There's a couple like whoa, whoa, whoa moments, right? And this one, nothing is as shocking, right? Like you see her, you think she's gonna be some type of trouble or danger, but she's really not. You know what I'm saying? Like when they sleep together, I'm assuming like she was gonna wake up gone, and she had took
Yeah.
the manuscript. No, she was still there, and they just had a nice breakfast. And I was just like, oh well, okay. But like you just assume more was gonna happen because like Matt Johnson has set up this thing in your head where like what I'm saying there's a double cross coming of there is some double cross or something some piece of information that hasn't been revealed hasn't dropped yet, right? And like there's like this air of doom over the whole thing that never comes.
Yeah, like it's not clear. She's getting blackmailed at some point because she's been passing for white a lot. Like she's an actress in Broadway. Um, and someone knows that Xavier is her brother. And
Cousin,
it's not
cousin, cousin.
cousin, yeah, sorry, cousin. And it's not clear like why. I mean, she's worried about that information getting out because it would impact her career, it would impact her life. But I agree with you. I feel like it was going to be something more. Like I was thinking maybe she was like involved with the mob or something, or that she was like using her ability to pass to like work with the cops or something. I don't know. Like I was expecting there to be something where the consequences would be even more extreme uh, than usual for finding out. Um, but I mean, this is a prequel. The biggest story of Zane's life is Incognegro, the first book. Um, I understand why his first mystery and his first experience with trying to pass for white would be a smaller story.
Right,
Um,
right. But I do like her. Like I like her a lot. I wish she had a little bit more to do. But
right.
right, you know what I'm saying. In fact, I wish there's just
You just wanted more. Last when we talked about this a little bit last time, you were saying you just wanted the whole thing to be longer.
yeah, just like a couple more. I think it's what 5 or 6 issues. I think 7 or 8 would have been like good. I
Yeah.
think to let it breathe, because like plot points happen like boom boom boom, and I
Yeah.
think they're not given the correct weight. And again, this is a minor criticism of a book we
Hmm.
really really liked.
Yeah. Oh no, I wanted it to be even longer. Like first world problems, right?
Right, right. So,
Um, that was my husband's criticism also, was he said that it felt a little rushed compared to the first one. That he wished it had been longer in like the second or third act.
hmm
Um,
I mean, honestly, I kind of wish he would release these at a quicker clip. And I know
mhm.
that's asking a lot because he's like an actual novelist, so I'm probably asking for too much. But like, I would love to just have series of these mysteries where this black guy got passed for white in the most racist. Excuse me. I said the most racist time in our history, but let's be real. That's just America. It's always the most racist time in our history, except for maybe the last 30 years, maybe. But like, yeah, just like I would just love a series of these books. I would love to have these on my shelf.
And I keep being incredulous that they're not movies. They're disappointingly relevant, right? Like in the afterword, Matt Johnson even wrote himself that he was not really expecting his books to become more relevant 10 years after he wrote the first one.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I want them to be movies. I'm ready to start fan casting in my head.
I mean, he might be too old now, but Wentworth Miller will probably been like the perfect choice for Zane. Do you know who Wentworth Miller is?
I'm looking him up right now just to make sure he's the guy I'm thinking of.
Prison Break, Captain Cold.
Yeah, yeah.
See, I didn't know this. I didn't know he was half black. I've literally thought Wentworth Miller was white for decades at this point. For at least since he's been famous, I thought Wentworth Miller was white. To some say, nah, he's half black. I'm like, oh,
I mean,
like
he looks white and then just like maybe vaguely exotic or whatever, right? Like I look at him and I see white plus. I wouldn't assume that he was half black.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but like,
But yeah, so that's exactly the right look.
yeah, like he's perfect. But like, I think he might be a little too old now. But like Wentworth Miller would be my like choice for like that role. I think.
I like it.
But like honestly, I think at this point, if you was gonna do this movie, yep, that's right. We talking about this fictional movie that doesn't exist. I think I would go with almost an unknown cast for all the major roles,
Okay.
just to make it like more believable. Cause you put somebody famous in a role, right? I think you'll feel like you seeing them. Like, well, I know that guy is black. You know what I'm saying? I like.
Yeah.
Like it's so hard for me to pretend that he can pass for white since I know he's black. Like,
It would also be easier on the actors because being in a movie like this would necessarily be like kind of a political statement.
right, right.
And asking an established actor to do that is harder than asking a new actor to do that.
I think
I mean, I don't want actors to have to worry about that, but you know,
Vin Diesel probably would have been a good choice too, maybe back in the day. Cause I think I still don't know what Vin Diesel is, to be honest with you. I'm not even like to this day. I'm not even for sure what he is. Like The Rock. Well, The Rock is too huge, but like The Rock is another one. Like I've seen Rock play white people in movies before. Like I've seen
Mhm.
Rock have like a white son in a movie
Yeah.
because like The Rock is black and Samoan, but he and Vin Diesel are of that like they're like Gunzo. They're like whatever. Like they're just like whatever they are. They could play. By the way, I hate to go off subject. Did you see the new Fast and the Furious movie trailer?
No.
Vin Diesel brother is played by Vin Diesel has a long lost brother that's going to be in the movie, and he's played by John Cena.
Cool. That's the wrestler guy, right?
Yeah, okay. Well, John Cena is really white, and even though
Yeah.
I don't know what Vin Diesel is, it seemed really weird that his brother would be white John Cena.
Nah, I mean, those movies don't really make sense anyways.
No, they don't. They don't. I mean, I think that's why people love them. I'm just
But I know what you mean. That is a little bit of suspension of
a
disbelief.
little bit, but yeah. Okay, so Amanda, like, is there anything else you want to talk to about the book? Like, I think Carl is great as always. I think, like I said before, like Carl, I think it's funny that like he's kind of comic relief, but he actually has the most important speech in the book. As in, like, when Zane doesn't want to go incognito and refuse to, it's Carl of all people who says, well, then you're just being selfish. If you're not using what you have to help our people, then what are you really doing?
Um, I'm glad you brought that up again because I do think it's really the Zane Carl dynamic is really also interesting for showing like two different kinds of like moral perspectives.
Right.
With Zane saying like, no, like it's never good to lie. I don't want to ever be ashamed of who I am, from that perspective. And then Carl having the broader perspective of, but this action overall is a good that you're doing. And you have the privilege of being able to do this. It's your obligation in some sense to use the power that you have. I thought that showing those two points of view was really important because showing those two points of view in two separate characters was way more effective than having internalized in one character.
Right.
In a novel, you could have a character that's conflicted and nuanced, but in a comic book, kind of splitting those ideas into two separate characters so they can talk to each other through dialogue was really smart.
And I think it has the added benefit of giving Carl more depth than that is apparently clear at first. You know what I'm saying? Because you look at Carl, he's for a good time. He's in for having sex with the white women, especially the middle-aged rich ones, which I can get behind. But then he says something like that, like, oh, well, Carl is just not all fluff as you may think he is.
Yeah.
But then again, if you kind of know that if you read the original Incognegro, where like he basically takes the bullet for his friend and dies, right?
Yeah.
Matt Johnson, look, you'll never hear this. You gotta bring Carl back somehow. Like in that pine box, you need to wake up and he need to be like, well, you know what? Them crackers thought I was dead and I wasn't. They didn't even check me. I was just a black man that just threw me in the box. And he just wakes up like, shit. They should have checked my pulse.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like there could also be some sort of like meta social commentary if we just had like zombies in here too.
Amanda, I would end this show if you ever mention zombies. So sick of zombies. So sick of them. But no, I want Carl Zombie, even though wouldn't it be funny if Carl Zombie just want to have sex with white zombies? Or that Carl Zombie only attacks white women? I think that would be hilarious. I really do. I mean, it would be fucked up, but I think that would be funny. But yeah.
I mean, I feel like, okay, I want to say I feel like I've heard of a zombie story where like the black people were fine because the zombies didn't even notice them. That like I feel like I remember hearing about some sort of a monster movie where like the monsters were racist and the black people were fine as sort of like a horror comedy like political satire thing.
I think that was a Key and Peele sketch sketch actually.
Well, here we go. Me culturally appropriating from.
I'm pretty sure that was a Key and Peele sketch. Like the zombies want to attack them because they was racist and they felt really upset about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can almost see it now that you say that.
Yeah, so. All right, so I think that's it. I like I said, I think, it had nice, everything came together real nice. You know what I'm saying? All the bad guys got caught. I think the art for the most part is good. But, like, also, like, like a couple of characters look alike. Like the character that's with the cop,
Yeah.
to me looks a lot like the bodyguard that Xavier's cousin had. You know what I'm saying? And I was kind of confused by it a little bit.
Yeah, all those grumpy old white men look the same.
Grumpy old white men look the same. That's racist, Amanda. No, So Amanda, would you recommend this book?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right.
That's why I own copies, is so that they can go out in the world.
All right.
And then they have my name on the inside cover, so they come back.
That don't mean that. Look. You think that means they'll come back, Amanda? That don't mean that it'll come back. That doesn't mean.
Just means 12 years from now, somebody's gonna be like, "What's an Amanda?"
I'm gonna tell you something. You know how many times I've loaned Watchmen out for it never, ever to come back to me again. Like it's just gone. Okay. So Amanda, okay, before we go, I also recommend this book. Let me say that. Okay. So I want to recommend Matt Johnson's book. The last book he written is called Loving Day, right? Now, I'm gonna spoil the first 2 chapters, and I want you to read it for yourself. But when I told you, you was kind of like, okay, Jamill. But it's about. I'm just gonna give you a quick synopsis, right? It's about I think it's kind of semi autobiographical. How you say that word? Please help me out.
Autobiographical?
Thank you. That's why you're on this show. So it's about a black man that can pass for white who comes home because his white father's died back to Philly, and he grew up in the hood, but he looks white. What I wasn't expecting was in the second issue to learn that he's a comic book artist.
Oh.
And like the whole second issue is about him at a convention, but in the black area of a convention. And but you understand, the book doesn't start with that. So and like you read the synopsis, you wouldn't even know that this had anything to do with comic books at all, or that it's comic books adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of comic book stuff in here, at least from a person that draws and write comic books. And you just wasn't expecting it about this story about black men going back to the ghettos of Philly and trying to reconnect with his dead father somehow through building a house. Then they just drop this in there, saying that he's divorced and he's a comic book artist he's a comic book artist by trade or something.
That's very cool.
And it adds an interesting wrinkle to this story that so far that I'm really enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
And but it does add this interesting wrinkle, and I would be lying if I didn't say, since there are aspects about the comic book business in it,
yeah,
it makes it just a bit more interesting for me, because that scratched that itch.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if he's a comic book artist, the entire book should have been written as tweets, right? Suspension of disbelief broken. Comic book artist who doesn't get on Twitter and get himself into trouble. I don't believe it.
Did another comic book artist get themselves in trouble, or are you just saying in general?
Just in general. Yeah.
Yeah. So we would definitely recommend this book. I'll definitely recommend Matt Johnson book Loving Day as an actual real book to read. Not saying comic books aren't real books, but as a novel that people should read. Now, Amanda, do you know what we're reading in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, we are. You have kindly decided to help me complete my 90s, my 80s and 90s pop culture background. There's a gaping, just egregious oversight in my education.
Right.
Which is that I am only familiar with the Ninja Turtles through general cultural osmosis. Right. And I've never read Ninja Turtles comics. I've only seen 1 or 2 of the cartoon episodes. I don't think I've sat through an entire Ninja Turtles movie. It's unbelievable, to be honest. I don't even understand how we're friends.
I mean, I don't either. Like, once you told me that, I really thought about ending the podcast. Like, after that, it's like I like 43 issues is good. You know what I'm saying? We don't even need to make it to 50 at that point. But no, next month, for most of the month actually, is Ninja Turtles month. So, in a couple of weeks, we are reading the first 3 volumes of the rebooted IDW Ninja Turtles series, started in 2011, written by Tom Waltz. So the first 3 volumes, which I think is honestly just like the first 12 issues or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But you'll see, you'll see it. That's what we're doing week 1. Then between shows, we'll do a special episode where we'll be talking about the 1990 movie, the 2004 reboot movie, and the first 5 episodes of the original cartoon. The only reason I'm telling you now, because that's a lot of stuff to like watch. So like you might need some lead time for everybody to get through that by the time we get to it.
Yep.
So that's what we're doing. And then we're finishing up Ninja Turtle month with the Ninja Turtles Ghostbusters crossover 1 and 2. I'm really looking forward to it, Amanda. Especially the 1990 movie. I want to see what you think of the 1990 movie. Cause like that might end our friendship if you don't like it. I kid, kinda.
I mean, if it was good enough for them to reboot, I'm sure it was good.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know, we'll get into Ninja Turtles in a couple of weeks. But for right now, this episode is over with. I'm Jamill Payne.
I'm Amanda Coney.
And we are out.